My Keperu, and we are going to talk about how to put together a powerful ritual. So join me. Hetepu, sorry about that. So this is My Keperu here with another broadcast for you. In this broadcast, we're going to talk about how to put together a powerful ritual. Now, if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live or when I upload recorded videos. Also, be sure to hit the like button on this video. And we have some free ebooks. So if you want to expand your knowledge of the esoteric and spiritual, click on the links below. You can download the ebooks right away and start reading. Last but not least, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. You can get access to instructional videos, videos on meditations, videos on breathing techniques, videos on invoking spirits, and all that good stuff. We do have videos on hypnosis. Those are really good, and that'll get you straightened out in terms of overcoming negative habits like overeating, um, attracting more wealth in your life, becoming more confident. So hypnotherapy or hypnosis is the way to go, and those videos are available to you as a Patreon supporter. So Hetepu, we're here to talk about an important subject, but before I get to that, I want to make sure that all of you Magi's are signing up for your 2020 year reading. It's important because you need to know what's the new year has in store for you, what's coming up. So when you sign up for your reading, we will work with you in terms of two major oracles, sometimes three, depending upon if it's necessary, which is the Great Oracle of Tehuti and the I Ching. All right. Both oracles are very good, very powerful, and they can peer into the future and give you insight as to what 2020 has in store for you or in store for you. Um, so to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Better that you know that this year you may have troubles in your relationship or you may come into extra money if you do such and such, A, B, and C. So it's better that you know these things ahead of time than go through life being tossed here and there at the whim of life. We as magicians peer into the future and we map out our lives that way. We don't just let things happen. So get your 2020 year reading. Just simply go to kasarkmaakeperu.com and sign up for the general reading, and we'll take care of that for you. All right, so let's talk about doing a ritual. Now, there's many situations where you may need to do a ritual. Now, as I've mentioned previously on many other videos, that I tend to cover things that don't require elaborate rituals or having to do certain things to attract the things you want. Because I try to focus on only the most simplest things. And in focusing on those simple things, such as understanding that you are a multidimensional being, and understanding that you are God, you're divine, that's your true essence, and that you can attract the things you want in your life by simply shifting your vibration to a parallel reality where that thing exists so you can interact with it. This way you don't need permission slips, which is what we call them, but you know, they permission slips, they're just items or tools. You see, the ritual is a permission slip. Some people have trouble believing that through their own power, their own innate power, they can attract the things that they want in life. So they need something. They say, I need a permission slip. So what comes in the form of a permission slip? A mantra. They say I need another permission slip. So I give them a crystal. They say I need another permission slip. I give them magical herbs or magical incense. You see, they then give themselves permission and place their power in those things. But once you graduate to a higher level, you realize that you are God and those things are not necessary. But they are very effective if you learn to use them properly. That is the key. For many of us, or many magicians, they choose to solely focus on those ritual aspects, and they become very proficient at those things, very good at those things. So good that they can summon spirits to do their bidding. So good that they can summon spirits to bring them money or fame. Many in Hollywood know about this, but it's only shared with the inner circle. In fact, when you get to a high level in Hollywood, you're brought into that inner circle and they do rituals for you that will make you a star, that will make you an A player. You see, we think that many of these people we see in movies, in television, are there simply because they are good actors, or they have good agents, or they're just lucky. No, you see, once you pay your dues, as it's called, then if they select you, they will say, we can make you your name a household name. We will do a ritual for you to invoke this spirit or this deity. And this deity will possess you and make you a better actor, a better singer, a better dancer, a better comedian. Your talent will skyrocket, but you will have to do our bidding. And the message that you will communicate to the world, because your name will be a household name globally, the message you will communicate to the world will be one that we dictate. Sign on the dotted line. Oh, don't use a pen. We're going to cut your finger and we want you to sign with your blood. It's a soul contract. You see, that is how you suddenly see people with mediocre talent propelled to stardom. And you're wondering, how did they do it? They've come out of the woodworks. Also, do not forget, this is the same with politicians who seek high office. All of them are a member of secret societies, but you don't know this, or you're not privy to the inner workings of how these societies operate. And they operate based on elaborate rituals. We only need to look back in history at Aleister Crowley, known as the most evil man there was, who was a member of the Golden Dawn, who practiced ritual or ceremonial magic. And he achieved a high level. And he sought in his life to communicate with Hermes, Thoth, and he took a pilgrimage to Egypt, Kemet, and he at that point felt that he had entered a trance state and communicated with Thoth. But that's a story for another video and a story for another day. But here, what I want to give you is the basics of the ritual that you will be performing. Now, as I said, the ritual that you'll perform can be done for many different purposes, you know? So you want to track on the lover, you want more money, you want to get that role in that film. Aha. Maybe someone has wronged you and you want retribution. Or maybe someone in your family has passed and you seek to communicate with them. This is the domain of the ritual. Let us begin. And if any time, because I'm going to go fast, because I actually wasn't going to do this broadcast, because as I was about to prepare to do this broadcast, I got in a lot of pain and I had to take some medicine and I'm still in a lot of pain. So I won't go too long on this broadcast. And I actually, this is the abridged version because I actually had a lot of more information for you, but I'm not going to give you all the information, not because I'm keeping things from you as the students, but because, again, like I said, the pain is calling me to rest. And what I'm going to do after this is going to go into trance and nullify the pain. That is how we as Magi's work it. We can work with Western medicine, but you have to understand, and I'm going to answer this question because I can read minds. I know what you're saying, because Sank, if you're saying you can go into trance and you can nullify the pain, but then why are you also taking the Western medicine? Well, the Western medicine addresses other things. You understand? Like for example, well, I'm not going to go into details there, but it addresses other things. But to eliminate the pain, which is what I focus on with hypnosis, that is a really great application to eliminate pain in your body. So I drop back into a deep trance state and program my subconscious mind to not feel the pain. But then there's other things that have to be dealt with that I use Chinese medicine and Western medicine too as a combination. We have to look at things totally. And that brings up a good point. Let me clarify this. I talk a lot about the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. I talk a lot about how the left brain is the dominant faculty that we're operating out of. And I think this guy, I forgot his name, he goes, peace. You know that guy. Talks about the cat down the road. Well, he did a video, and it was a really good video. And in the video, he talked about how the world is dominated, that most people in the world think out of the left side of the brain. And I was like, bam, finally someone's talking about that. But then he missed it because he didn't go to the details. He didn't tell you that because most of the population focus on the left side of the brain, the left side of the brain is the origin of racism and sexism. He didn't speak about that. If we were to balance things out by being whole brain thinkers, think with the left and the right hemisphere of the brain, we could eliminate racism like that. We could eliminate, as so some call it, white supremacy like that. We could eliminate sexism like that. We could eliminate partisan politics like that. You see, Kemet, Egypt, was whole brain thinkers. They thought with the left and the right hemisphere of the brain, but a little more favoring the right hemisphere of the brain. And look what they did. They built pyramids. They astral projected to Sirius star systems. They created wonders. But because modern man is polarizing the left hemisphere of the brain, we're limited. We're so limited. And the left hemisphere of the brain cannot reconcile or cannot think in terms of morality. So you have these individuals in science, in politics, who are evil because they have not incorporated the right hemisphere of the brain, morality. And in Kemet, morality was principle. So important was morality that one of the first gods, Ra, his daughter, Ma'at, was the foundation for all things. You see, God, the supreme being, source, had no foundation. That foundation had to be Ma'at. That was the foundation. What is that foundation? Ma'at is order. There had to be order. There had to be truth, justice, righteousness. But I digress. So my point being is that the left hemisphere of the brain has its place. Just because I say it's the origin of sexism and racism does not mean that we need to do away with left brain thinking. Hell no. We need, especially minority people, need to be a little more left brain, to be honest with you. Okay? So let's not negate the positive attributes of the left hemisphere of the brain. We need that, but we also need the right brain. So although, as I said, I talk a lot about the negative aspects of the left hemisphere of the brain, which gave us Western medicine, where it solves one problem and creates another in its wake, we still need it because it still has its application. Remember the goddess Sekert, the master witch, the master priestess, who governs a place for everything and everything in its place. All right. So let us get down to the nuts and bolts and the mechanics of performing a ritual. Now, my magi's, you should allow for mistakes, trials and errors. Keep a book, keep a log of what works and what doesn't work. Because you have to understand magic is a very personalized field, especially ritual magic. What works for one magician will not work for another or may not work for another. This is why you may go to a magic bookstore and look at all the books and pick out things and try to duplicate the ritual or the spell or incantation. It doesn't work for you. There's reasons for that, and we can talk about that. But as I said before, you may need to do a ritual to bring you more money, to bring you a lover, to bring you a better house, a car, a better job. You may need to do a ritual to make your boss more cordial to you. Those are all legitimate things. But be careful, for if you start doing rituals to exact revenge against individuals, it's a very sticky situation because those spirits that will assist you and exact revenge on your behalf want something in return. You make a deal with the devil when you start dealing with them. All right. Now, your ritual, there are two rules about the ritual that I would say this. And it's divided in the magical community. The first one is that you should do your ritual on the full moon. I believe the full moon is coming up on the 11th. I could be wrong, but I believe it is the 11th. And because the full moon has a pull on the tides, and the water in your body, the moon has an effect on the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind comes to the forefront on a full moon, and you're able to impress upon it easier during a full moon. And your subconscious mind is the key to your ritual. And I'm going to get into that. So you should do your ritual on a full moon. If not, then the best thing to do is to look at the spirit that you are trying to petition on your behalf or the deity. Let us say, for example, I want wealth. So I would go and look at the deity or the spirit that deals with wealth. We know that's Ma'at. Ma'at is wealth. We also know it's Heteru. Heteru is love and wealth too. So we know we have to appeal to Ma'at. Now, what is Ma'at's day? It is Thursday. That's when Jupiter aligns. Her planet is Jupiter. Okay. So we'll have to look at that and say, I got to do my ritual on that Thursday and look at Ma'at's hour. You know, we got to say, what is her hour? And if you can, try to perform the ritual during her magical hour. And you'll need an astrological chart for that. That gets into a little bit of details. One of the books, if you're going to deal with the Kemetic deities that you want to get, that really spells out the hours, the days of the deities, is the Medunate Varium 1. Now, each deity or spirit has a direction that you should have your altar set up. Could be the north, could be the east, you know, so you have to understand what spirit or deity wants in terms of that spirit, that direction. With that said, and that understanding, and this is kind of like a one-to-one relationship, so you should know the spirit or the deity you're trying to petition. If you don't know them very well, you need to read up on them. A good book that you can get that does have some of that information is called Summoning Spirits. I've already talked about the Medunate Volume 1. You can also get Francis Barton's book, the practice of magical evocations, and he lists in here a lot of different spirits and what they govern and what they control. Some spirits will make you an expert guitar player. Some spirits will make you an expert writer if you want fame as a novelist. Okay. So anyway, you want to set up an altar. But let me take a step back before we get into that. The best thing to do is to fast for 48 hours prior to doing the ritual, cleaning your body out. If you can get an enema, that's really good because you don't want any obstructions to the energies. And then what you would do is you would take a spiritual bath prior to the ritual. Now, there are spiritual washes that correspond to the deity or the spirit you're trying to petition, and you'll need to get them from a magical supply shop. And remember, they must correspond to the deity or the spirit you're trying to petition. And I say for women, take a bath, and you're going to pour in the salt, and you're going to pour in all the other things that correspond with the deity or spirit. For men, we don't typically do that, so we would probably take the bath and pour it all over ourselves, take a shower with it, or take a bath if you want to do that. Then you would dress in all white, and then at that point, you would come out and you would draw what we call as a magical circle. Now, this magical circle encases you, protects you from unwanted spirits coming in. Okay. I screwed up once and did not draw the magical circle. I had a demon come in that stayed with me for 3 weeks and went through hell trying to get him out of my house. So be very, very careful, because when you are performing a ritual, you are actually opening a gateway, a doorway to the spiritual realm where demons are waiting to come in. And then another class, I'll get into the details about how to recognize if you're communicating with the deity or the spirit, or it's a demon in disguise, because the demons, they disguise themselves as the spirits that will even disguise themselves as the ancestors, you know. And what you need to do, and I'm going a little bit further than I want, is you take a piece of paper and you ask the spirit, write your name here. All right. And if it's a demon, they cannot write the name of the spirit. That's how you know it's a demon that you're dealing with. Okay. And you must do that, or else you'll make a pact with the devil. And if you don't do it right and you have a demon, and there's different levels to demons. There's regular demons, there's master demons that govern the other lower demons. If you get a master demon that comes through, you're in a shithole of trouble. I kid you not. That thing will excuse my language, will fuck up your life. You are going to let me give you an indication of just, I didn't have a master demon, I just had a regular demon. And let me tell you what it did. I would try to sleep at night and I would hear in my ear the cries of those damned in hell. And I would keep hearing them screaming and crying. They were agonizing in pain and pain and pain. And I was like, oh, this has got to stop. And me and my mate, we didn't know that we had a demon in there. This is funny. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. You're gonna love this. So I'm lying in bed and I'm hearing growling. Rrr, rrr. I'm like, was there an animal in here or something like that? I'm like, we got an animal in here? What is this animal in here? And then I smelled this real foul odor. I'm like, what? Is there a dead mouse in here? And then, my mate's like, Kasak, I think we got a demon. I'm like, no, I don't. I live truth. I don't attract a demon. I live truth. So we pulled out our magical books and we're reading the criteria that tells you if you have a demon. So the first thing is a foul smell. She goes, do we have a smell? Yep, we have that foul smell. I go, yeah, we got that. And she goes, and growling. And she goes, I haven't heard any growling, so we don't have that. I'm like, did you say growling? She goes, yeah. She says, Kassan, could you hear growling? I go, yeah, I heard growling. I thought that was like a squirrel or something. She says, the squirrels don't growl. I'm like, oh, shit. I was like, we got a demon. And then I go back to my altar to do some meditations in my altar. And then the demon manifests. So I was like, oh, all right, there you go. If that's not enough to tell you you got a problem, Kazak, I don't know what. So my next, I'm going off a bit, but my next thing was to try and command the demon to obey me. So that was what I tried to do, and that didn't work out. So, I tried that. That didn't work out. You know what? Magi's, I'm not going to go into any more about this. I'm actually going to delete this video when this video is done because I don't want the outside world to get too deep into this knowledge, because I don't want people messing around and doing things and sending spirits and demons out to hurt other people. I'm not going to do that. I don't want that happening. So this video is not going to be up long. Okay, I'm warning you right now. Okay. All right. So you need to understand who you're petitioning. You need to understand the spirit or the deity. It could be a Greek deity. It could be a Kemetic deity. It could be a Vodun or voodoo deity. Santeria. It could be, Yoruba, Ogun, whatever, whatever you want to petition on your behalf. Now, one of the things that's very important is you need to have, and some cultures call these fetishes, these little things fetishes. That's the traditional names for it. But you need to have an image of the deity that you're petitioning that really does help, and you can put that on your altar. You want to have things that correspond to the four elements: earth, wind, fire, all that stuff on your altar. But the most important thing is you want to have incense that corresponds to the deity. Um, that's very, very important. And then there are certain powders that you need to use that correspond to the deity. And these are magical powders that you would put all over your body to enhance your energy. All right. And they're made up of herbs that correspond to the deity. So it's a combination of using like talcum powder, kind of like talcum powder, with the crushed herbs mixed into a fine grain, and you put that all over your body, and that will enhance the energy. All right. Now you're going to make use of the law of correspondence. Okay, and the law of correspondence says like attracts like. So you place on the altar that which you're trying to attract. Let's say if I'm trying to attract money, I can put a bank account statement, I can put a $100 bill on the altar. Okay, that's the law of correspondence, like attracts like. So you want to do that, all right, and make sure that you have that there. And it's also visually so you can see it. And now what I like to do is place on the altar is I like to place the herbs all over the altar. Now this, you can be creative. There's no hard fast rule to this. No one's going to walk and say, well, you got too many herbs there, so the deity is not going to come and give you what you want. No one's going to say that. Okay. But you want to place the herbs of the deity all around the altar. What I do is, prior to setting that up, I take the herbs and I place them in my hand and I meditate and I charge them. That's called charging them. And then I put them on the altar. And then the next thing I'll do is I'll put the stones that correspond to the deity or the spirits and the crystals. I'll hold the crystals in my hand. I'll meditate the night before to charge the crystals on what I want. I meditate and I visualize myself. Say, for example, if I wanted more money, I would visualize myself attracting more money with the crystals. Crystals are very powerful. And I will put those on the altar on top of the herbs because they magnify the herbs' power, and I'll put them near the stones so they can magnify the stones' power. Quartz crystals enhance the energy. All right. And then you have your candle, which is the color of the deity. Now you need to do a little bit more research. I don't have time to go into this right now, but you need more research on candle magic because there's proper ways to take the candle and you engrave the candle with in signatures, which are sigils. All right. Now this gets into a little bit deeper. All right. A sigil is a symbol of that which you ask for. So, say for example, um, this is not how you would write it, but I'm just doing this to show you. I want money. Well, I would turn this into a sigil, and that is, it would eventually end up looking something like this. All right. And what that is, it appeals to the subconscious mind. So instead of me seeing the words, I want money, this is a symbol, kind of like Superman's S. It's the symbol and says the same thing. Now, these sigils already exist in Francis Barton's book, The Practice of Magical Evocation. So you can actually go to the spirit that you want to petition, and he has these sigils there. So if you could see here, they're all there. Okay. So you would write that on a piece of paper. Now, when you write that on a piece of paper, the sigil has to be charged as well. There's many ways of charging the sigil. You could stare at it for a length of time, or you can meditate and blow on it. Okay. Or some in the magical community, they will look at it and then laugh. Really just laugh. Okay. Now what's going on there? We're trying to impregnate the subconscious mind with the sigil. See, in your waking state, the left hemisphere of the brain, the conscious mind is awake. We need to get this sigil to penetrate the subconscious mind. And the way to do it is either to stare at it for a long time, or through the breath, the prana that comes out of you, flowing onto it. Or laughing really hard laughing is a relaxation technique of the body. It releases tension and opens the gateway to the subconscious mind. Make sense? Okay, great. Sigil, put that on our altar. Okay. If you want to understand how sigils work, you get the practical sigil magic. This book is really good. It'll walk you through how to create your own. And don't forget now, do not forget. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I just saw it here. The cartouche. Remember, we in ancient Kemet had a form of a sigil that was reserved for the kings and the queens. See? They would have their names inside there, in hieroglyphics, or the metuneta. Okay. Now, once you understand the spirit or deity you're trying to petition, you're setting up your altar, and now one of the things I use that I take from European magic, Wiccan, is a magic wand. I use that because my magic wand has a crystal on it, and I've been charging that thing for years. So it's very powerful. So I use that in my magical work, and I don't cast a spell. I don't do anything like that. I really just hold it with me when I'm doing my work. And the next thing, and I'll get to this, of course, you're going to have a glass of water, and you're going to have, if you can, some vodka, a little bit of vodka. Okay. Certain deities like vodka. Haruka Huti loves vodka. Or was that Sebek? Huh. Okay. And just to give you an idea, like Sebek, he likes popcorn. So I would put popcorn on the altar. He likes candy. I put candy on the altar for him. Okay. So certain deities like certain things, and I give them the offering. Okay. And again, you're writing up what you want in the form of a sigil. Okay. Next thing. What is the next thing? This is getting deep. Are you ready? This is getting deep. If you believe that you are a star child, meaning you're of alien ancestry, if you weren't incarnated from a past life on Earth, but you came from another star system, like the Sirius B, or Zeta Reticuli, then this is a very interesting book. Maybe you want to get this and check it out. It says How to Talk to an Alien. I kid you not. It's a very interesting book. It really gets into the details of how to write, the proper communication, the proper meditation, and things like that. So it's a very interesting book. All right, sorry. Now, next thing is very important. I'm going to speed up a bit. is your mantra. There are tons of books out on mantras. This is one book on healing mantras, because you want to have a mantra for the that corresponds. I'm sorry, that corresponds to what you're trying to attract, whether it be love, money, or what have you. There are mantras that can do all of that. So if you're not sure, email me and I will send you the mantra that corresponds to what you're trying to attract. If you don't want to use a mantra, you can use a spell. A spell works just the same. Some of the brothers and sisters who are clients of mine in the rap industry, I teach them how to create a spell that rhymes. Your spell should rhyme. And the reason that you want it to rhyme, you write it out yourself, because rhyming is a right brain faculty. And the rhyme, the rhythm of the spell, when you're reciting it over and over again, will jump right into the subconscious mind. And that has a very, very significant impression upon your spirit, because we are very rhythmic, rhyming, right brain people. So if you can write your spell out, which would include your request, what you're looking to attract. And I used to be a poet in a past life, so I like writing poetry. So rhyming is not a problem for me. Otherwise, use the mantra. That's it. Okay. Now, we've got into some mechanics here. We've got the magical circle. We've got the altar in the right direction. We know the deity or the spirit we're trying to petition. We've cleansed our body out, enema, all of that good stuff. We've bathed. We put the magic powder all over us, and we can also put the magic oil. Each deity or spirit has a magic oil that they work with. While this candle's hot, I'm gotta put this back. Okay. Whew. We've got the image of the deity. We've got the sigil. We're doing this on the correct planetary day or on the full moon. So we're ready. We're ready to go. So this is when you would begin to recite your spell or your mantra. Okay. Now, when I'm doing that, what I would do is I would make a formal request. I would write the statement out. My mother, please grant me so and so. Then at that point, I would take just a little bit of the vodka and put it in my mouth. Okay, and there's two steps to this. There's no hard fast rule. There's no hard fast rule. I'm not a drinker at all. I don't drink, so I don't like the taste of vodka. So there's two things you could do. You take a little bit of the vodka, and this is what we call the spirit juice, and you swallow a little bit. This will make you a little lightheaded. Okay, you take another, hold it in your mouth, swish it around in your mouth while focusing on your objective. See an image of yourself with the object that you want, the object of your desire, whether it be a mate, money, house, whatever. Then you're going to spray it out from your mouth onto the altar. You've impregnated the alcohol. Now you're spitting it out, or you're into a stream onto the altar. You're impregnating the altar with more energy of what you want. Now, at this point, no hard and fast rule. Some people do this, some people don't. I find it to be effective. You need to get yourself into a subconscious state. Some people have friends that will come over and do the drums. And the drumming puts you into trance. If you don't have somebody who can come and do drumming for you, you can play drums and the music, or you can do twirling around. And usually I may hold my wand in my hand and I start twirling around until I am dizzy like crazy. I mean, and you may want to have somebody there to catch you in case you fall. But the goal is to exhaust yourself to the point of exhaustion. spinning round, 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 fast, 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 all the while holding in the mind the object that you want. And this is active, this is making you dizzy, it's activating the right hemisphere of the brain, and this is penetrating to the inner planes so that the spirits pick up on your request, and then you fall out and you relax and you breathe, and then you can sit quietly and meditate. Okay, now after you meditate, there are a number of things you can do. In closing, I would stand up, and then I would do a reading with the oracle and ask the oracle if there's any other thing I need to give the deity or the spirit to grant my request. Is there anything that it needs? And I would toss the coins with the I Ching. And if the oracle said, the deities have heard you, they will work on your requests, close the book, Amen Ra, and end the ritual. So now, if the oracle says, no, your petition was not effective, you can close this off, but you need to do subsequent readings on what you need to provide the deity because you missed something important. And the deity is not going to grant you your request until you grant that. So you have to do subsequent readings saying, what is it I need to get the deity? And then go back and do the ritual again. And then do the reading again. Is the deity now going to fulfill my request? Okay. Speak to the deity. Don't do what I did that messed me up. And part of what messed me up was not speaking to the spirit directly, not calling the spirit directly, which opened the way for something else to come through. Don't do that. Speak clearly and directly to the spirit or the deity. Work with a benevolent spirit. Don't get caught up in working with spirits that are half-ass, can go either way, or malevolent. Don't do that. You don't want that trouble in your life. Believe me. And it's so funny because just me recalling this makes me so nervous now. I'm just like, just me thinking about what I went through. I'm just like, whew, oh man, I don't want to talk about that anymore. That was a terrible thing in my life. I'd rather forget that. So I'm very cautious now on how I perform my rituals. And I want you all to make sure that you're doing these things with ma'at in mind, with truth in mind. Someone asked me this because in the Medunater Oracle, the great Oracle of Tahuti, there are cards that we call dark deceased beings. And they asked me, can you attract a dark deceased? I said, yeah, you can attract a dark deceased. It's very easy to do so. But this is why you must live a spiritual life, because if you're living a correct and spiritual life, you will not attract those type of entities to you. So we try to live a just and truthful life as Magi's. Any questions before I close out? As I mentioned earlier, oh yeah, Caroline, thank you so much. It was called Infinite Waters. Yeah. What's the guy's name? I forgot his name. Is it Sam? The guy's name? The one that goes, peace. Infinite Waters. Diving deep. Hello, deep divers. He's a cool guy. I like him. He's funny. Yeah, I forgot his name, but I don't know if it's Sam. I think it's Sam, but he was talking about left brain, how the world is predominantly left brain. I was so happy he mentioned that. Finally somebody was addressing that. Okay, so you all take care and just be careful. Make sure you're reading the books that I prescribed. Did I miss any books? No, I think I got all the books that, and there are plenty more that you can use as a reference. Get your 2020 reading to know what's coming up. And I think, yeah, I think you guys are golden. You're good. I think all you guys, I trust all you guys have uh, the right things at heart, that you won't go be calling spirits to do bad things. Hopefully not. If not, if you try to do that, I'm going to take care of you. Don't do it. Only use this power for good. Remember what they told Spider-Man? Oh, thank you, Ralph. Isn't it Ralph Smart? That's his name, right? Ralph Smart. His name is Ralph. His name is Ralph. Infinite waters, diving deep. Okay, thank you so much for bringing that up. I totally forgot his name. Um, Remember what they told Spider-Man: with great power comes great responsibility. Think about that. You know. All right, this is Kasak Maya Kefaru, son of Ma'at and Tootie. Ma'at is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.